Greetings, travelers. It's me, Wing of a Gimbal, famous gnome bad, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Adventurers Guild. Now you're probably thinking, Adventurers Guild? Why did you talk to me about that? It's very straightforward. You have a guild, it's for adventurers. Well, yes, at a very high level that's correct, but there's a lot of things about the Adventurers Guild that people don't know. You see, there's always been adventurers. For as long as there's always been monsters, weird places to explore, or people to save, there's always been people who will answer the call, whether it's out of the goodness of their own heart, for money, or other strange machinations they have in motion. You see, not all adventurers are good people. Some of them are a bit of dicks, and they expect cash up front. Others are the grand hero you always expect. But at the Adventurers Guild, regardless of what you want, you got to pay the cash. See, the Adventurers Guild was created as a sort of a support system for all these adventurers. There is a very, very, very high mortality rate for adventurers, like really high. Do you know how many adventurers die every year? I'll tell you this, it's more than a dozen, it's more than 50. The average amount of adventurers that die every single year is 76. That's a lot of people, travelers, and I'm not just talking about the innocent people who pick up a couple of spears and say, "Let's go fight some people in the cave over there, they look like bad people, we're going to be adventurers." No, I'm talking about seasoned people. Seasoned people who are like, "We're going into the deep, so we're going to destroy some of the spooky oogly booglies down there because the people in the deep asked us to." I'm talking about those people who go out hunting after Leviathan in the oceans that are consuming ships. 76 adventurers pass away every year. And so naturally, these adventurers were like, what are we doing? We just keep kicking the bucket hard. So, how do we fix this? We'll create a support system. And so was born the Adventurers Guild. You see, the Adventurers Guild was born with adventuring in mind. Each adventuring guild location is outfitted with free places to stay for the adventurers, food and board, of course. That's a place also where people can come to find work. You don't have to start looking through the alleys and asking somebody on the side of the road, "Hey, you got any jobs for me?" No, you can hop on over to the Adventuring Guild, and they often have boards set up. They also have places where you can get your stuff cleaned, your equipment fixed up. There's even people who could try to modify your stuff for you if you go to the right place. These Adventuring Guild are set up to help adventurers. But of course, nothing is for free. How's an Adventuring Guild able to operate with all these fine luxuries if they don't charge a bit? So, how do they do this? Well, they understand that a lot of adventurers are pretty broke. They see a really good sword, they see a nice spell book, they see those swanky shoes, and they just drop that gold. So, how do they deal with this? They charge a little bit extra to anyone coming in with a job. So let's say you're like, "There's some strange rock creature that's eating all my sheep." Well, you go to the Adventurers Guild, and normally you would have paid 50 gold for adventurers to take care of the strange rock monster eating all your sheep. Well, the Adventurers Guild says, "Cool story, it's gonna be 60. And you go, "What? I was only gonna pay 50, what gives?" And they say, "There's a 10% tax." And you grumble and grumble, but you know you need the monster destroyed, or at least relocated to a better place. So you pay the 60 gold. The Adventuring Guild takes the 10, and they pass the 50 on to the adventurers upon job completion, or whatever requirements are for the job. That's how the Adventuring Guild generally keeps its head up above the water. And of course, it's those very, very lucrative jobs out there that often pay very well. The Adventuring Guild can make a pretty penny. You're probably thinking, wait, why are all these suckers paying 10% extra for jobs when they could just go find an adventurer themselves? Well, here's the thing. When you just find a bunch of randos and say, "Hey, "Could you go do this thing for me? Can you go find this ancient family relic?" Well, how do you know they're even going to come back? How do you know they're not going to find your relic and go pawn it for more money than you were going to give them? How do you know that they're not just going to murder you, and then you're screwed, you're dead, and they got your relic? Well, that's where the Adventurers Guild come in. They have a great reputation, and they generally have a good track of if these adventurers are any good, if they generally get people killed or what. So, you go to the Adventurers Guild and they'll find you good, reputable people to work on your things. You see, adventuring though, it isn't just the whole going on quests and making money. A lot of businesses have actually realized the lucrative thing of adventuring when you have a great team. So, if you have a team that's really popular amongst people, oh, those are the heroes, oh wow, look, it's the Sacred Flame. Well, I wouldn't call them heroes, but you know what I mean. So they go oh wow, the Sacred Flame, a lot of people really like them. What if they wore my company shoes? And so you sponsor these heroes and they wear your merch. So they wear your merch, tell everyone how rad your shoes are, then people who all love these adventurers go, super cool! And then they buy your shoes, and so you make money. So yes, there is a huge marketing aspect to adventuring if you get real good. Also, if you get notoriously horrible, you can also get a few deals, I should say, but you probably don't want them. It's pretty shady. It's up to you, whatever floats your boat, I'd say. The last thing I have to say about the Adventurers Guild is they have a specific ranking system of adventurers. Now, it's pretty standard ranking for the Adventurers Guild. Depending on the ranking you are, it's generally the kind of work that you can get. There are exceptions, of course, if you manage to snag something, or if you accidentally get a Zerithian Doom Cube marked up with your blood and you're connected to it and you're the only people now who can get the job. You know, slight little exceptions like this, but generally, the kind of rank you are is the kind of jobs you'll be getting. So of course we have Copper, which is the lowest rank. We have Bronze moving up from there, then Silver, then Gold, then Platinum, then Obsidian, and then Diamond. Now you're thinking to yourself, that's a lot of ranks. Even if you were to letter it, it would be like F, E, D, C, B, A, S. That's quite a few ranks. Usually people just go to E. Well, here's the thing. At any given time, there are only 3 adventuring groups that could be Diamond rank, so it's a very competitive thing. So, the Obsidian are always competing to get into Diamond rank and outshine the current Diamond people. Now, these people generally can keep the rank pretty well, but every so often a big switch-up happens, and when there is a big switch-up, there is some crazy goings-on. I mean, there are some parties. Like, you have pools that are floating in the water. You have a drink that you drink, just need one. You're going for days. Like, it is wild. Those parties are good. But anyways, yes. And also, your rank allows you to get better perks at the guild. So this rank can actually help you get better equipment. It can maybe even give you better rewards. And the higher the rank you are, say Obsidian and Diamond, you're actually able to vote in different guild rulings. So you can start voting on where you're getting jobs from, what you should be charging, what things you should be providing, where you should be getting stuff from. You can actually start to give your opinion and help sway things in the Adventuring Guild. So there's other perks with it, and a lot more. I myself am not in the Adventurers Guild, but if I was, you know I'd be Diamond, baby. Alright, travelers, that's all I got to talk about with the Adventuring Guild. Very cool group. Just basically, if you think about it, a support system for adventurers by adventurers, because 76 adventures keep dying every year. They say that the Adventuring Guild has actually lowered things. Like, the old number was not 76. It was much, much higher. But they say with the Adventurers Guild, they've managed to lower things quite a bit, so good on them. All right, travelers, that's all I have to say. I bid you all adieu.
Hey, I'm Dre Silvertooth, and I'm a GM. You should absolutely come listen to our podcast, because I have the best heroes. They're hunting curses for the Queen of Vyre, and it's going great.
I got 5 hit points.
I have a plan.
Is it to write my eulogy?
They make really good choices.
Oh god, why did I do that?
It's all according to plan. Textbook success.
She did fall 45 feet in full armor, though.
Well,
Fine. They are bad heroes. I have 4 very bad heroes on my podcast. But they are hilarious. Come check us out at badheroescast.com or find Bad Heroes wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Sailing of Blue, a One Piece podcast documenting my best friend Matt's journey with One Piece. But it isn't just a podcast where Matt has read all of One Piece and we talk about it. Oh no, my friends. I will be giving Matt a few chapters to read as homework at a time, and he is not allowed to read ahead until we record. And yes, I make sure to end assigned chapters on cliffhangers. We hope you enjoy our One Piece podcast where Matt will recap the chapters they have read and discuss our thoughts, feelings, and theories. Though I have to be careful, as I'm not allowed to spoil the series for him or for you all, because I have read One Piece many times. So, without further ado, let's set sail.
We're gonna chat about a real stretchy lad who wears a straw hat. In each episode, we're gonna recap. It's Sailing All Blue with Xander and Matt. Sailing All Blue with Xander and Matt.
Hey, Kat, what are the spell pieces in this ad?
Advertising, pandering, obligatory, and team.
Then I want to use my piece, Honest, and cast Honest Advertising to tell people that Sword of Symphonies is an actual playtest campaign of the game that you made, starring us.
Ooh, and I want to cast Charming Pandering and tell them how much fun we are to listen to. Ooh, or would that be Charming Team?
I think I have a charming team, yes, Kirsten.
Oh,
Nick, do you want Honest Advertising to tell them that we have sort of a cozy horror vibe and that people can listen to us every Saturday?
Oh, and before we do that, I'd like to add my spell piece music because I write everything in-house.
Yeah, I love your music, Kathleen, and I think your sound work in general is top-notch. So let's cast Honest Music Advertising and Charming Team on the listener and invite them to join us on Sword of Symphonies.
The Secret City. The Atomic City. The city behind a fence. Oak Ridge goes by many names, and it is proof of what happens when man messes with things they do not understand. The side effects of mixing little understood science with ancient mysteries reach farther than anyone realizes in this small town. And those mysteries are about to come to a head. Tempest Multi is a Southern Gothic reality-twisting mystery powered by the apocalypse. Listeners beware, there be monsters here.
Greetings, travelers. It's me, Wing of a Gimbal, famous gnome bad, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Adventurers Guild. Now, you're probably thinking, Adventurers Guild? Why did you talk to me about that? It's very straightforward. You have a guild, it's for adventurers. Well, yes, at a very high level, that's correct. But there's a lot of things about the Adventurers Guild that people don't know. You see, there's always been adventurers. For as long as there's always been monsters, weird places to explore, or people to save, there's always been people who will answer the call, whether it's out of the goodness of their own heart, for money, or other strange machinations they have in motion. You see, not all adventurers are good people. Some of them are a bit of dicks, and they expect cash up front. Others are the grand hero you always expect. But at the Adventurers Guild, regardless of what you want, you got to pay the cash. See, the Adventurers Guild was created as a sort of a support system for all these adventurers. There is a very, very, very high mortality rate for adventurers, like really high. Do you know how many adventurers die every year? I'll tell you this, it's more than a dozen, it's more than 50. The average amount of adventurers that die every single year is 76. That's a lot of people, travelers, and I'm not just talking about the innocent people who pick up a couple of spears and say, let's go fight some people in the cave over there, they look like bad people, we're going to be adventurers. No, I'm talking about seasoned people. Seasoned people who are like, we're going into the deeps and we're going to destroy some of the spooky oogly booglies down there because the people in the deep asked us to. I'm talking about those people who go out in the oceans that are consuming ships. 76 adventurers pass away every year. And so naturally, these adventurers were like, what are we doing? We just keep kicking the bucket hard. So, how do we fix this? We'll create a support system. And so was born the Adventurers Guild. You see, the Adventurers Guild was born with adventuring in mind. Each adventuring guild location is outfitted with free places to stay for the adventurers, food and board, of course. That's a place also where people can come to find work You don't have to start looking through the alleys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rise of Nyarlathotep. We're here to do some stuff on the side of a mountain, but before we do all that, let's go ahead, go around the table, introduce ourselves. My name is Lucas, my pronouns are he, him, and I will be your GM for the evening, who is going to fix his camera. Ian.
It was me, Ian, the whole time. My pronouns are he, they. I play Weary normally, but in an unfortunate twist of fate that I fully did not expect, Weary's in like nightmare eyeball person jail, which is similar to time jail but worse. And I will be playing as Trust, Weary's husband, for the foreseeable future because I don't know when Weary's coming back.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was kinda a little bit my bad.
No, I decided to rescue a character that I out loud have said, wow, what an insufferable motherfucker. And I was like, yeah, I'll do the right thing and save him.
Well, that should teach you a lesson.
Yeah. Care less.
Meg.
There we go. Hi, I am Meg. My pronouns are she, they. I am playing our favorite socially anxious goblin druid, Alora, who is just very confused by everything. But we're here.
Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, her. I'll be playing Glyph, the automata rogue, whose pronouns are they, he, who is working on getting in touch with their feelings. And it's totally not awkward. It's great.
Eve.
Hello, I'm Eve, and I'm playing TK37, the telekinetic super soldier and dark blade. Officially, I've read my new abilities, and I am now God.
Yeah, kind of.
for like 5 minutes at a time.
And Jason.
Hey, I'm Jason. I'll be playing Talk, the simply superb Plumerian bard. And I don't know what's going to happen with this bird voice because I've been doing some sleep apnea exercises and my airways aren't all fucked anymore. So we'll see what happens.
All right, so before we kick things off, if you want a gentle, snowy breeze in your home because you want to know what's winter like without actually suffering through winter, head on over to Sirenscape, make dreams come true, make your winter wonderland, even though you look outside and there's like those weird heat ripples that make it seem like there's water in the distance. Hit it up, Sirenscape. Also, we are sponsored by Roll20. That's right, we're Roll20 ambassadors. They let us go see God, and if you want to see more of that, head on over to our YouTube. It's up on there. Roll20 is very kind to letting us do things, but yeah, so check that out. But we are in the thick of it now. You randos have had quite the time when you were in Plumeria, thanks to Tiffany. Where we last left you, you had essentially destroyed 2 city blocks. Kritok had managed to calm down Tiffany and put them into somewhat of a sleep so that TK could wrest control and kill Tiffany effectively with the Darkblade after the Darkblade was stabbed into TK. What a sentence. After that, you were essentially arrested. Then Weary saw a bunch of eyeballs swallowing up Kyle, as you do, and decided to try to lasso Kyle with some magic and pull Kyle back. But instead, Weary went the other way. So Weary ended up in freaky eyeball cold ice prison, and things aren't good. If you're wondering, is Weary okay? No. But don't worry, Trust is here with the group and is traveling along. The group went over to the Crestfeather Manor and they found the Crestfeather, which was essentially an amalgamation of the entire family put together into this giant stitched together flesh golem that helped the group as they quickly ran off to the basement, got out of their chains and whatnot, and you, after Glyph said that they loved all of you, TK fell through the portal, which made Trust fall through the portal, then Kritok, Alora, and just everyone went through the portal, and you ended up on the side of a snowy mountain. All right. Before we go to the randos, we see a cold stone room with ice and snow dotted here and there. A wooden table is the lone decoration here, and on the table is a mug of ale. and a camera. A dwarf sits at the table wearing a horrific mask that is composed out of a great many eyes. Their thumbs carefully go over the buttons on the camera, flickering between images of it. I'll put the image that you see now. We see Tiffany and Flint cuddling and smiling in one photo, a beer in each of their hands, and Flint's face is still scratched out in the digital interface. The camera flicks to another photo, and it's Tiffany lying on top of Flint, being kissed on the cheek as she laughs. Bubbles in the photo, mid-lick towards the camera. The eyes on the mask begin dropping tears, creating almost a rainfall. The dwarf has to compose himself and shakes his head, breathes deep, and pushes the camera away. A troll woman walks into the room wearing dark gray robes. She has a stone mask adorned on her face, her cold eyes staring as Flint. She towers over the table. She leans back into an old wooden chair. Arabisha sits and looks at Flint for a moment before saying, "Why did you summon me? I thought you were out of the game." Flint rests his hands on the table. "That's changed now. You need to go to the Great Tree. Start getting preparations. The final ascension is at hand." Arabisha looks a little confused, as much as someone could be confused behind a mask. "You're telling me to go? On whose authority? We don't even have the robes yet. We have the scepter, we have the horse, but we don't have the robes." "I already sent the robes. Tyrell knows about everything. Take your group, head on over there." Arabisha sits back and is drumming her fingers on the table. "What changed? You were against this whole thing. You have been making this take so much longer. Why would you suddenly join our side?" And Flint takes this finger out of his pocket, a finger of Weary's, tosses it onto the table. "They killed my wife. I waited. I watched. I even tried to help them. And they killed her. They've had her locked away in the mind of that psychopath. And she fucking stabbed Tiffany. So now, I don't give a shit. This whole world can burn. The robes are already at the Great Tree. Get your people." She stands up, nods her head. "For what it's worth, and I'm sure it's not much, I'm sorry about your wife. I'll go see my flock and have them ascend before we go. Be careful with them. They're very, very destructive. I know. I've been watching." And we leave that moment. The cold wind whips by, and we see the randos shivering and standing in a glowing red teleportation circle. The red circle is slowly fading away as the wind picks up and snow continues to fall on the side of this mountain. All around them there are great pine trees, and the snow reaches up to their thighs, in TK's case, her chest. Not too far from them is a great mansion that looms rather lonely in the snow. A few warm lights are seen here and there in the window, but otherwise it looks rather empty. Far beyond that mansion, there is a town that could be seen. Buildings are spotted here and there, but are obfuscated by blowing snow. The biting wind offers no rest as you feel the ice begin to form on your eyelashes, and puffs of your warm breath are carried by the wind. And I hand it over to you.
Yeah, TK is immediately putting up a telekinetic wall right in front of her to try and block the wind. She is not wearing any warm weather gear, or cold weather gear, because all of her shit got taken when she was arrested. She just has all the stuff that she was wearing, which is kind of fucked up at the moment because she stabbed herself in the chest.
For context, for our dear American audience, so it's minus 30 Celsius, which is minus 22 Fahrenheit. That's the temperature right now you're all facing.
So
Yeah. So TK's immediately starting to freeze.
okay, I think everyone tripped through the portal. Glyph came through. I came through last with Bubbles, and was immediately expecting a fight. So I come through ready to fight, and land in knee-deep snow, and I feel my sensors kind of recalibrate and go, oh, the temperature, I feel the temperature low, and I feel all my systems shunt energy elsewhere so that I'm not cold. And I'm just oh. And I look up and I see the manor with the windows lit up, and I'm tree line now, we need to hide right now. And then I lean down and I pick up Bubbles.
Bubbles trying to worm him out of your hands and trying to jump in the snow and play.
Bubbles, no.
How far is that house itself from where we're at?
Not far at all. Maybe 100 feet.
Should we maybe try the house, see if anyone's home?
No, absolutely not. They built this portal. We have no idea who's in there.
Right, but
Line now, please.
Okay.
Bubbles,
sure.
You are so squirmy.
TK is trying to push through the snow. Every time she starts to climb up on top of it, she just drops down.
It's aren't you the same height as the snow?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
trust
She's trying to hold out